Do you value meeting other colleagues, or are you the kind of teacher that's always at the chalk face? So, welcome to the chalk face. I'm Dave, and my colleague.
Hello, I'm Craig.
Yeah, so Craig, I read an interesting article this week.
Did you, Dave? Sorry, I'm doing that deliberately to him. I usually start these videos. I'm sorry. Go on, carry on. What was it, Dave?
Well, the article was about school leaders, and it was essentially saying that external partnerships are a lever for improvement or sustainability. And it got me thinking about, schools working with other schools, but how about teachers working with other teachers? And it kind of reminded me of, the partnership that you and I have got, and why more people perhaps don't do that. I don't know. What are the thoughts?
This is one I could talk about for hours, but I can't. This is about teachers networking with other teachers, professionals having time to talk to other professionals, even within their own school, let alone beyond their school, which is kind of like what you're getting at here. We just don't have enough time, and it is so important. The years I spent teaching where the only people you speak to are the direct people in your department. You've got a downtime, you happen to have a free period together, sorry, personal preparation allocation time, or you desperately have a coffee, and you stay in your bubble. And I fell into this trap, Dave. I fell into this trap. You end up thinking that the way you do it and the way maybe SLT tell you to do it is the only way to do it. And therefore, you never challenge what you do. You never go outside your comfort zone. You're constantly, and I'm not saying all SLTs out there don't know what they're doing. There's excellent SLTs out there, but you end up delivering to that strategy, that way of doing things. And what you never get time to do is learn from other people, because we are so busy, we are so tired. And oh no, it's all right, Dave, we do networking. We get 6 evening insets a year where we do CPD and we get to chat. Absolute rubbish. They're at the arse end of the day. Nobody cares. The inset day is usually filled with something that you don't particularly care about, which is awful because you probably should. But you get to the end and it's like, oh, but there's group discussion sessions, which no one really wants to do or lead. And then you get to the end of an inset where you're meant to be doing all this networking inside your school. And what does the speaker say? Anyone got any questions? And you'll desperately look around the room going, if anyone puts their hand up, because I want to go home. And this is, I'm joking, but this is all systematic of a bigger problem, isn't it? Is that we only become better teachers by challenging what we do. And that happens if you can mix with other colleagues, not just in your school, but outside your school, different institutions, different ways of doing things. Sorry, Dave, I'm on my soapbox.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I'm not really thinking about, inside your school. I mean,
Right.
You're probably mixing and working with colleagues within your school every day. I mean, we teach computer science, and so some departments in school you are the only person in your department, and in that case it's very isolating, and you don't have anybody else to bounce off. And even if you're in a department of 2, possibly 3, it can still feel like that, whereas other departments are much bigger. So I'm not really talking about sort of the internal opportunities to network with your colleagues through CPD events and inset days and things internally. I am talking about the opportunity of opening the front door and stepping out of it. And
sorry to interrupt again, Dave. I think that was my point, though, that even within your school, that is challenging. With even in the school, the only people I spoke to on an average day were the people within my department. And as you've just said, if you've got a department of 2 or 1, you don't even get that. So I guess, I totally agree with you. I know what we're talking about here is getting out of your classroom. Using paid school time. Is that worth it? I'll release that teacher. Well, I now need to get you cover. Blah, blah, blah. Teacher needs to be in school. Dare I say it?
Well, a little bit, though.
Go on.
Something you said about well, you've said in school time, and you've said, we don't have time at
Yeah.
the beginning of the
Yeah.
episode.
Go on.
And I want to push back on that a little bit. I've always been the kind of teacher that wants to do the best that I can do. I want to be the
Yeah.
best I can be. And part of that for me is finding the time. So, yeah, okay, we are tired at the end of the school day, but I used to look forward to having an opportunity to dash off and meet a colleague in a neighbouring school, or attend some event that's going on at another school that's relatively local to me, and that opportunity to meet other people and share ideas at the end of the school day. I think it's an excuse. I'm going to put it out there. I think
Oh,
saying that you're too tired is an excuse. I think you do the things you want to do. If you want to do it, then you will do it, is kind of how I see the world. And I think maybe that's a little bit of excuse. I mean, I taught my lessons, I did the best job I could, but when it got to the end of the school day, I didn't say, "Oh, I'm so tired. Oh, I can't be bothered." No, I went down the road to the local school and met, another teacher, and we chewed over the fat of the day and the term together. And it was therapeutic. It was helpful. It was cathartic. And I, I think it's an excuse. You've got time.
ooh. I think you're definitely going to push some buttons there, and it's not that I don't. Yeah, it's not that you're not allowed to push, because some of the long before we started Craig and Dave. For those who don't know, I mean, for many years, Dave and I were just colleagues in separate schools, and this is something we would do. But even then, Dave, you know, I was always very much like you. I wanted to make a difference. I knew that no matter how well planned I thought my lessons or scheme and learnings were, I could benefit from running it by someone else. What are you doing? What are you teaching? How are you delivering that topic? And I'd always pick up something new. So I was keen. So what you're saying here is we've got two keen teachers who want to do the best, wanted to improve. But on a typical academic year, how often would we sort of meet and chat? We would see each other at the odd joint course we were going to. Maybe OCR were running a course on a new spec, and be like, "Are you going to that, Craig? Yeah, oh, brilliant. We'll share a car." And that would be the real time when our networking would get done, the 2.5 hour car journey on the way there and up. But the number of times we, based on what you just said, quite virulently, the number of times we would actually get together independently outside of a pre-arranged event. I mean, we try to do it every year, but maybe once or twice. A half term would come around and say, "Right, we're going to spend a day together and we're going to do this." So, what I'm trying to say is, you're right. It's very easy to always make an excuse. But even we didn't do it. It's not, don't people think every other day Dave and I were meeting up and chatting about X, Y, and Z? And I don't think every day you were popping down the local
Uh,
school. It is hard.
no, no. Admittedly, I'm not saying this is a daily event, right? But there were other people I was meeting, and not just you, mate.
Oh yeah, all right, sure. Oh, I'm not the only
you
other
can't,
teacher in your
you
life,
can't
Dave.
measure, you can't measure my networking by the amount of times I met you. But yeah, no, you're right. Okay, this isn't even necessarily a weekly thing. It
Yeah,
can be as infrequent as once a term, right? But the point I'm making is, I've worked with people that have no desire
yeah,
to leave their school unless they're going home, right?
yeah,
They don't want to attend CPD events in school time. They don't want to attend CPD events outside of school time. They
yeah,
seem to have no intention of networking with other colleagues, and I'm not quite sure why that is. Now, I know some schools will um, almost instill that behavior in their teachers, because they're like, "We can't afford you to go out of school," and they don't value what a teacher gains by going
yeah,
out and meeting other colleagues, and they feel that the only value a teacher has got is when they're in front of students. And if they're
yeah,
not in front of students, it's either, it's a cost. It's either a cost to the learning of the students, or it's a cost financially, or it's a cost in the hassle of trying to provide cover and
Yeah.
everything else. And I think that's the wrong mindset completely.
Well, that I completely agree with.
Too many
100%.
SLT undervalue the opportunity to network. So
Yeah.
perhaps it's just that that's what your school instill in you, and over time you start to think, wow, my school don't value it, why should I value it?
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, I won't mention it, but an ex-colleague of mine's been trying to come to our Craig and Dave conference the last couple of years, and I didn't make it. They wouldn't let me out. I'm like, right, brilliant. Yeah, Dave packed full of CPD, hundreds of computer science teachers from totally different types of schools, guest speakers, all the exam boards. There's no way taking one day out in the summer term could help benefit you and therefore your kids and therefore the school. I mean, it just that is purely short-sighted. I get it. Oh, you've got a department of 4. You two went last year. We'll send you two this year. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But you're right. And this is the problem. Every school is very. Oh, go on. Go on. That was a grimace there. I was like, maybe I don't totally agree with that statement, Craig. Was that let the whole
No,
department out?
I agree with that. I'm getting more and more frustrated as we talk about this, and
Oh God.
I just wonder whether we need to call this out.
Go
I'm gonna
on.
call it out. I
Go
don't
on.
think some teachers care. I
No.
think they turn up, they do the job. It's not that they try and do a sloppy job or they're no good at their job. No, they're probably a good teacher, right? They can control the class, they can raise attainment, they can do a good job, right? So they think, that's it, I'm doing my job. Go to work, go home. And I don't think they care enough.
Okay. If you're going to say that, and you're definitely correct. You're definitely correct. That will be no different to any other job and profession. There's a whole bunch of teachers out there who don't care. I would back that back with, why don't they care? And did they not care from when they started? Because I'm willing to bet, okay, there'll be a tiny, tiny fraction of teachers, like any profession, who think, oh, this will be an easy life. Look at that. 3:15 every day to get to go home, 12 weeks holiday. And they went in not caring. But that's a minority. I would argue 99% of teachers go into the profession because they want to make a difference. Not 99 of teachers end up caring as much as they did when they joined. And how long does it take before they end up in that mindset? And that's a much bigger problem. Now we're kind of going beyond what we're chatting about today, the benefits of networking. But you're right. I've watched really keen, eager teachers, NQTs, they're coming in, and within a few years, exactly what you've just described. It's then like, look, I've done the minimum. I'll do that because you're on my back. And have you got that yet? Yeah, fine, I'll do it now. And I know it's been rushed. Trying to get them to, oh, we've got a department meeting this evening. Wow. Yes, it's been in the calendar all month. What I'm going to suggest in the department meeting is you take a day out to go on a course. Oh God. And you just battle it. Where does that come from? Oh, we've talked about it a lot in other videos. It's systematic of the stress and the pressure on the entire education system, whether it be Ofsted initiatives, the way we examine data and all the rest of it. But the ultimate result is what you've ended up with. There's a lot of teachers who once used to be passionate and care, just wanting to get through the day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'm not
that's
trying to be
tragic.
unfair to teachers, right? I do get it. I've been teaching for 25 years. It's not like I don't understand all this. But for
Yeah.
me, the thing that kept me going,
Yeah.
really, in a way, was the opportunity to share my pleasure and pains with other people. And I think that you're missing out is kind of the way I think it's a bit sad in a way. I think you're missing out. But I've got one other beef.
Yeah, go on. Just one.
Just one, and it's my SLT bashing as usual, which I, by the way, fully qualified to do this because I was a member of SLT. All right, I've been an assistant head teacher. I know all about it.
Yeah.
So that qualifies me as far as I'm concerned.
These are the people we used to whinge about, us at the chalk face teachers, not this management. Go on, Dave.
I'm fed up of bumping into SLT members regularly, and I still go into schools, so I see them, and they're so preoccupied with what they think is the day job.
Yeah.
So perhaps they're in charge of pastoral care, okay? And so they are so preoccupied with the pastoral care and preventing students being excluded and, giving them the wraparound care. And all that's important. I'm not saying that's not important. It's vital, right? Critical. But the thing that they're doing is neglecting their teaching. Okay. Because these members of SLT, teaching is the last thing on their mind. So if anybody isn't going out and networking with other people in terms of their subject, and that's what I'm talking about, their
Yeah.
subject, advancing their subject pedagogy, advancing their subject knowledge, if there's one group of people that are not doing this effectively, it's SLT. And those are the people leading everybody else. So lead by example.
Wow. Yeah, very true. And I was thinking about what you were saying earlier, Dave. The irony is, if a lot of these disenfranchised teachers, whether it's, through external factors or whatever, but they've ended up in a situation where they just want to get through the day. They don't really care. They've got no interest in networking, no interest in taking time out and speaking to other colleagues. The irony is if those sort of teachers did and got out there and had real genuine opportunities to chat, discuss, just get out of that classroom, that school environment for a bit, meet other colleagues, how they're doing it, it would probably have the opposite effect on them, and that it would re-engage them a bit, what's it, relight their fire. I mean, literally at our conference, we had Alan O'Donoghue. If you've not seen him, amazing speaker, gave us a talk on Relight My Fire. And this is exactly what he was talking about, actually. It's all come back into my head.
Mm.
Getting out there. What happens if you've got drained? You've got that. How do you get out of the, can't remember what he called it now, the treadmill of teaching? And one of the big things was saying, find ways of doing it. And we are actually quite blessed in this subject with the amount of communities and opportunities that are set up outside to help with this. And we've got to talk about some of those in a minute. Because I mean, ever since sort of 2012, when ICT became computer science, there were a lot of external bodies, not influenced or controlled by DFE, that sprung up and said, right, we need to provide these opportunities for people to talk, to meet, hubs, communities, all sorts. We've got to talk about some of those. We've actually got quite a lot out there for teachers to engage with, but they've got to engage.
Yeah. I mean, ICT became computing, by the way, before anybody is grinding their teeth like
What did
I've
I
just
say?
been doing.
What did I say?
Well, you said computer science, and it,
Oh, I
it
meant
just always has
computing.
that connotation that it's about,
Sorry.
architectures and programming. When
No,
of
our
course,
subject became computing, which includes
computing,
computer science.
yeah,
Mm.
includes a lot more things than computer science. But yeah, no, no,
What
no,
about
no.
what I just said, Dave?
You know what we're talking about. But yeah, so I mean, why did we do it? I mean, I don't like driving to big cities particularly. I get very frustrated with the parking and everything else.
Yeah,
So, you don't mind doing it. So I was like, Craig, fancy going to this conference? And for me at the time, it was partly an excuse not to drive. If I get you to drive, then brilliant, right? So, but then it sort of developed over time that we had been both to the same conference. We were both reflecting on it. We were both thinking about it for our own teaching. And so we had something to share. And those car journeys, they're often sort of 2 hours, 2.5 hours, depending on where we're going. There's only so much small talk you can have in that time
yeah,
before you end up talking shop and talking about the conference and
yeah.
talking about, what you're
Well, let's
teaching
face
and
it,
what's happening at
that's how
school.
Craig and
And
Dave. That's how Craig and Dave formed, isn't it?
yeah,
That's
absolutely.
literally how Craig and Dave formed. The more we met, the more we chatted, the more we met up at mutual CPD sessions or exam board courses, chats in the car. The odd
Yeah,
day together during the holidays. It was like, we're doing more similar than different. So why are
yeah,
we doubling our workload and doing it
yeah,
separately? But you are doing that thing over there, Craig, that I'm not doing. What's that about? Yeah, and you're doing that thing over there, Dave. And literally, that's where Craig and Dave formed. And we've talked about this at length in other videos.
yeah,
But it was one day after a particular course, sat in Paddington waiting for delayed train, and we went, we should put our heads together and put some of this stuff out there. We'd had
yeah,
particular colleagues at that CPD going, that's amazing. Because by that point, we were doing the same thing, but we had no company. We
mm,
was like, I was delivering stuff in my classroom that you were delivering. We'd literally got together on how to sort of do things. Not everything was the same. And then, of course, people are like, how do you do that? Oh, well, Dave and I do it like this. If you've got that available, can you give that to us?
yeah,
And that's what it was. And look what's come out. We've become stronger. Now, obviously, now we have the freedom, obviously, going part-time and then teaching. And that's the irony, unfortunately, is now we're not in the classroom, but that's given us the freedom to do it. But that doesn't mean you can't find time to do it. I think it's so important. I'd probably say it's one of the single best things you could do for your
yeah.
ongoing health as a teacher, your professional development, is to find time to network with other colleagues, visit other schools, attend some of these hubs communities, because I really
Well,
think,
it's completely changed my teaching because
yeah, mine too.
it's shone a mirror up, but not an overly critical mirror, a friendly mirror. As you just said, it has enabled me to say, how are you teaching this unit? Or
Yeah,
this is a bit dry. How do you get through it? And you'll say, well, I do it like this, and you think, there's something in that, and you can kind of evolve it a little bit together and make it even better. And it's not that you've got all the good ideas and I'm taking them off you,
yeah,
because it would happen the other way as well. You'd say to me, oh, what about this processor architecture stuff? How can we make that more interesting? And I would say to you, well, I've done a little role play, or I've played a bit of rock paper scissors to understand processor speeds. And you're like, wow, yeah, there's something in that. We could develop that into
yeah,
like a decent resource. And so we've literally bounced ideas off each other. You've taken some of mine, I've taken some of yours, and we've developed some things together. And that's really, really healthy, because it enables us to ask each other, why are we doing it that way? Does
yeah,
it have the impact? And I think when you're doing that on your own, or just with colleagues in your own school, you become an echo chamber. So it's not
yeah,
about being threatening, or being embarrassed with what you're doing. It's about saying, how could we work together to improve this for me as a teacher, because I want to enjoy teaching this, and then also obviously for the students, because they're going to get more out of it as well. So it's a really mutual beneficial thing. And I think too many teachers, like you say, they think they're too tired.
yeah.
um it's I'm just thinking, Craig, I'm just thinking, it's the excuse that I give for not going to the gym, right? I'm too tired. And when I go to the doctor and I say, oh, I've got a bit of problem with me back, he's like, well, how much exercise are you doing? I'm like, oh, well,
None.
a little bit. And he's like, I think you should do more exercise. And I'm like, I'm too tired to exercise. What are you on about? And he
Yeah, there
says,
you are.
that's your problem. He says, if you actually go and exercise, you'll be less tired. And I'm like, yeah. No, not that I've actually taken that advice yet, but it is sound, and I will do it.
Right. We'll hold Dave to account in future episodes, everyone. I do, before we get too distracted about your lack of motivation for exercise, I do think we should circle back and highlight some of these amazing communities that we have got,
Yeah,
because you're right. You could be watching this and thinking, brilliant. Okay, well, what then? And despite their advertising, you don't know what you don't know, right? I mean, the big one that comes to the top of my head, that's been around the longest, is CAS, Computing at Schools. Started off as a tiny grassroots, not-for-profit organization, I want to say back in early 2010.
they
And
do webinars all the time, right? And it's the same people at the webinars all the
yeah,
time. Like, get involved in a webinar. You can do that from home.
yeah. If you've not heard of CAS, Computing at Schools, I strongly urge you after this to go Google it. There'll be links there for training they do everywhere. You'll find you can search your local CAS community. You can reach out to that CAS community leader, and they will tell you what's on in their area. And they'll be like, "Oh yeah, we've got a teach meet coming up here, or this one's online this term, and it's focusing on X or Y." And they do all sorts of stuff. I mean. It, I'm trying to think of others. I mean, that's the big one. I was going to say obviously the NCC national hubs, but I've got to be careful if I'm
Yeah.
not up to date
Well,
with that. Are they still around actually with the
yeah,
funding?
but the other things, go to the CPD that the exam boards are
Yeah.
putting on.
Oh
A
God,
lot of
yeah.
it's online. Some of it's face to face, but a lot of it's online. Attend. It's just going to make you a better teacher. The other thing that frustrates me is you look at the Facebook groups and people are asking questions. They say there's no such thing as a silly question, but honestly, maybe there's an ignorant question, right? Because
Yeah.
if you just attend the exam board training, you wouldn't need to ask half the questions that are being asked on these Facebook groups. It's infuriating, really. And you could argue, well, hang on a minute, isn't Facebook you know, networking in itself? Yeah, but it's not the same. It's nothing like talking to people. I mean, my
No.
advice is pick up the phone to the school down the road and ask to speak to the head of the department or another teacher in the school and just say, can I come and have a visit? I've got no agenda. I'm not judging you. I just want to have a chat about what I do, what you do, and see if I can learn something from you. And
Yeah.
it's easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Meet a teacher in a school down the road. I love it.
One other thing.
Oh God. Are you going to? Oh,
One other
go on.
thing. This can go wrong. Okay, and
Okay.
I want to unpack a little experience briefly. Sometimes SLT think, oh yes, this partnership thing's a great idea, and they impose it on you. And sometimes it can be done through, oh, we'll do a mock stead or
Ah,
some kind of quality assurance initiative, right? And the idea is this: they get a head of department from another local school or a member of SLT from another local school, and they come and visit your department and they
yeah.
critique you,
Harsh
right?
judgment.
This is a bad idea, especially if the colleague that you parachute in has worse results than you.
Yeah.
Why are you getting a school that has worse results than you to come and quality assure your provision? That's madness. And I've seen it firsthand. Okay. I have seen schools get seemingly a random head of department from another school to come and quality assure. And that colleague is not up to date with the latest pedagogy. They have no insight in your intent, implementation, or your impact, frankly.
Probably
And they
more of a
end up
power
going on
trip
a
than anything
power
else.
trip where effectively they feel like they're an Ofsted inspector. And it is completely demoralizing.
Yeah.
And that is the worst kind of networking, in my mind, that you can do.
Wow.
If you're getting
It's not.
together to
Yeah.
learn from each other, that's one
Yeah.
thing. That's very valuable. If you're getting together because someone is going to impose their judgment on you
Yeah.
or help SLT to form a judgment of you, that's unhealthy. That does
Yeah.
not work. And I've seen the impact of that. It has completely demoralized a department that I saw it happen to.
Did you have any more soapboxes, Dave? I feel like we've gone through 4 or 5
Sorry,
of them.
I had to get it off my chest. It's so frustrating. This can be done so well.
Yeah.
So why do SLT do it so poorly?
Yeah.
Honestly. Right, no,
No,
I finished.
as soon as you said the word Mockstead, I took a shudder. We had those as well, and you're right. It's not networking. So I wouldn't even classify that as networking. I mean, some of us are, oh, we're going to bring in, it's going to help this. I don't care how you dress it up and how you justify. That's not networking, as you say, especially. And if it is going to happen, right, and the schools can do it, then for crying out loud, make sure you put some effort into checking the credentials, qualifications, and is this person in a reasonable place to pass these judgments? Don't just bring in some mate from down the road because you want to make some departments feel bad because you're trying to prove your own point. Anyway, oh, going to get
Mm.
me going now.
It
Right?
becomes a tick
Yeah,
tick
yeah,
box exercise.
yes.
Yeah. We've
Tick
got to
boxing.
identify things that are good at the department. We've got to identify things for improvement.
Yeah.
Have you? Mm.
Mm. I tell you what. Here's the way to prove the department. Let the colleagues out for some proper, decent CPD.
There
Let
you
them
go.
come to the Craig and Dave UK Festival of Computing.
There you go.
Seriously. Yeah, no, absolutely. I think some of the best times I had was on networking CPD events, CAS events, and now all the things we attend. And you only have to see that we have the pleasure now of being on the other end. We get to attend lots of these, either just watching or quite often now as speakers delivering a session or doing our own festival. And we get to see the enthusiasm on those teachers' faces that are there. So it's such a shame that unfortunately, as you did say earlier, you quite often see the same faces at all of these things. And it's not surprised they're the infused, switched on ones. They're getting the opportunity to network, they're getting the opportunity to challenge their own teaching, get new ideas, just have a chat and a catch up. And actually, what I'd really like to see is some new faces. Some new
Yeah.
faces going, why haven't I done this before? This is great. But anyway, yeah, networking, one of the most important things you can do. And unfortunately, something you're going to have to fight to do if you're in that rut, but it's worth it. Any
Yeah.
closing statements, Dave?
Yeah.
Go
Final
on.
statement from me.
Go on.
If you want to improve your school, get out and let them out.
You heard it here first. At the chalk face. See you again next week.